Fine. So, yeah, obviously there's been, a lot of panic in the markets, and I did send out the newsletter this week. And even though it was titled a little dramatic, so that people open the newsletter, but I've clearly given my view that, it's not really, we're not entering a very bearish phase, but what we are looking at is probably, some consolidation going forward, and that might probably, you know, go on for some time before we start. Sorry. So if you haven't read the newsletter yet, go ahead and do check it out. But I think I have sent it, and you should be seeing something like that in your inbox. Okay, so that's the newsletter, and I did give my complete view, but we'll also go through that shortly. But if you're not subscribed to the newsletter, if you've not seen it, go ahead and check it out. Kevin says he can't hear anything, but a lot of people have said they can hear me. So Kevin, maybe you want to check your audio connection. Okay, cool. And this week also I got 4 stocks which still look good and which might perform well if the market continues to stay well. But let's take a look at the Nifty charts. So as usual, what we do is we look at the weekly charts first. And this month is, since we're at the end of the month, I also will probably be looking at also the monthly charts, right? So that's a ritual that I follow. It's kind of thing that I do every month end. But a lot of people have said that this month's candle has been not a good candle. I totally agree with that, but that doesn't mean we're going to crash starting tomorrow. Okay, so we have seen such kind of candles before, right? We've had a candle there, and then we've also seen that candles, wicks on the top in the month of Jan, Feb, March, April. But when you see such candles, obviously there's a sign of sell-off, and the higher levels we're not able to sustain. The markets are not able to sustain really the higher levels, but that doesn't mean that we're going to crash. What I see, the probability of a crash is, no one can really predict that, but I see that chance is not really that high. And we might go sideways rather than just correcting going forward. But for me, the levels that I would watch is that levels on the weekly charts, 17,250 levels. That's a major support on the weekly charts, right? And if you also go to the daily charts, you would also observe a similar kind of support, right? So that's the level that most of the technical analysts will be watching. So levels of 17,250 to 450. So that's the range where we might probably reverse. And we've already seen a crazy sell-off which has happened, since the last many days. And we should probably consider at least a few more days before we see the next trend, okay, which might probably develop and go and might we might reverse, or we might even continue the downfall. But just looking at the intraday charts, I clearly see that we made a bottom on Friday, right? If you see, we made a double bottom, and we've reversed. So the morning 9:15, 9:20 kind of had a crazy fall, and then we kind of reversed strongly, and then we've again reversed from the same level, and the markets really did not take out that level. So usually on a Friday, if you've seen such kind of moves towards the fag end of the session, people are not really sure whether this market will continue to go down, and that's why they're not really aggressively going short at that point. And also weekend there could be some bullish news, and maybe they make decent profits, and now they won't really continue the bets going forward. So for me, I think we have made a bottom, and unless we don't break that lows going forward, we should not see any more bearishness. So that low for me is very key. So in terms of plan for Monday, the trading for tomorrow, what I do is probably, if I were an intraday trader, I'd probably short the markets only below 600, and I'd go long about the recent swing highs. Right now, I've talked about pivots a lot, and for me, pivots are the points where markets reverse. So that's a pivot which I'm looking at. And if you see, we're also kind of forming a rectangle consolidation since that 1 o'clock in the afternoon, right? So I'm just going to admit a lot of people who are joining. Just going to admit. See, my brother who's joined. So I think that for me is very important on for me Monday. And if you were to go long, then probably go long about 17,760 levels. And above that, we can see some good bullishness in the markets. And then if we go below, then yeah, that's not really good. So that's the Nifty update. Coming to the sector charts and all of the charts, I still see a lot of charts are not really doing good. So we can go through them. I'm just getting distracted with these people joining late. Okay, so keep it continuously. So I do share my views on the sector every now and then. If you have joined me on daily sessions, I do share my sector views, but we can take a look at them. Okay, so starting from auto has been rejected from the all-time highs, 2017 all-time highs, and my system is also pretty slow today. Why? Okay, let's start off with auto. I'm going to go to the monthly charts. I'm not really going to look into the daily charts. But a lot of sectors have reversed on Friday. Okay, so if you see, there's a lot of wicks like we see in auto. There are a lot of wicks which have happened on Friday, and also a lot of the small cap stocks also did not correct that much. But if you see what has happened in auto index is that we've reversed from the highs of 2017, right? So that's going to be some resistance for some time because a lot of people are stuck at that point and they might want to exit. But overall, we've broken out from a nice consolidation, and this also might continue to consolidate going forward. But auto index does look good for me. From the sectors that I'm looking at, auto index is probably one of the sectors that has not really, gone down much after a move up. So it's probably just consolidation. Consumption does look, weak. So consumption, if you see, we had a nice big red candle. So consumption does look weak to me. But again, it has also broken a support there. It's formed a new swing low. So consumption does look weak. The finance space or even the CSU bank space is probably just correction which is happening after a nice move up. So I don't see really a problem in the PSU bank space yet, even though we've had some nice moves in Canada Bank and a lot of other stocks. I still see there's a lot of potential for the PSU bank space going forward because it's one of the sectors which is really not, no one has chased the sector yet. It's undervalued. And probably there is something which is going to happen, or maybe the credit is picking up already. The credit growth, credit loan, or the credit growth is picking up. There's also a few comments from the Kotak Mahindra Bank CEO about that credit growth pickup. He's not seen such a pickup in many years, or some kind of statement that I saw. But FMCG also looks weak, but it is kind of reversing from, that's where we broke out after some nice consolidation, and it's probably reversing, retesting that zone. So I probably be also buyer on FMCG if it kind of reverses because that sector has not performed well for a couple of months now. Okay, IT is definitely looking bearish to me. So IT has not really done well. And if you see IT charts again in the monthly charts, you would see a lot of strong wicks. So if you see last 2 months, there has been sell-off. Now again, this doesn't mean you're going to go down. If we've seen a similar kind of a wick even in Jan Feb. And I probably see that we can consolidate going forward, but IT is definitely a buy on dips for now. But don't go and buy tomorrow itself. Wait for a good 20-30% fall in some of the stocks, and then you can go and buy. Also, if you understand technical analysis, you can time breakouts. So that's also one of the approaches. Media is looking decent. It's not really bearish like other sectors, but metals, are kind of going in a parallel channel. So if we've seen buy on dips here, but we've seen also sell on rise there, right? So it's kind of dicey for me. The metal sector is kind of dicey, but it's kind of trending in this parallel channel, right? So we've again kind of reversed this week from the same parallel channel. So I see a probability that we might see a good buy coming in this week, probably, or we might consolidate going forward. But I see the of this going up again, and I don't see any signs of bearishness yet. Again, we've clearly formed high lows in the weekly charts. So metal also is not really bearish to me going forward. Okay, mid cap index, mid cap and small caps have been rejected from a key resistance, and we are also close to so that's the long term resistance since mid cap index has been in place, and we kind of rejected from the long term resistance, but we also reversed from the trendline support. So again, next week is going to be crucial for many stocks and many sectors. And if we reverse, that reversal is going to be really strong because a lot of people have probably exited thinking that going to crack. And even pharma index, if you see, we formed a nice base, nice wick again this week around the same zone. Right now, remember this is the highs of 2015. So we're hovering around those highs of 2015. We've broken those highs and we're hovering around those highs. So probably a lot of people were stuck in pharma selling off or booking their profits after many years. And this might consolidate for some more time, but definitely pharma index also is not looking weak to me. It is again a proper uptrend structure, and we can do well going forward. So PSEs, I don't really get into PSEs, but again, you can check the charts. Again, this when it comes to the PSU bank, we've had an excellent breakout, and any dips from here on from PSU banks for me is a buy. So if you're looking for strong stocks, probably SBI Bank is one of the best stocks to be in the PSU space. And any dips from here definitely I think can be bought. And you can probably do a sip also on SBI. So I've already been recommending about United Spirits, Bharati Airtel. So SBI also is one of the stocks which has broken out, of multi-year highs, and I think SBI can do well going forward as well. So reality again looks excellent. Reality stocks also are consolidating. Again, it has moved run up a lot. So again, it's a buy on dips for me until we don't. This was a multi-year breakout that we had back in June, July. And I think until even if we drop till here, for me that's a buy on dips opportunity. So for me, buy on dips, if you're forming a portfolio, buy on dips would be PSU banks, reality, then probably IT is something that is a long-term story, but it can correct a little stronger because it has run up a lot. So IT for me is, if you can wait for a good 20-30% correction in IT stocks, then probably that will be definitely buy for me, because IT is a long-term growth story, and we've been seeing some excellent results, and they will not just go away in a week's time or a month's time. So IT definitely is a buy on dips, and a lot of stocks are doing well, right? So just don't buy stocks which are forming lower high, low lows on weekly charts. Like for example, some of the stocks that we did is Laurus Labs. Laurus Labs has run up a lot, and at this point, will I buy Laurus Labs? I'm not sure. Like for example, if you're a long-term investor, then definitely you would see opportunities when it dips towards weekly supports. But for a short-term position investor, Laurus Labs is in a downtrend, so I would not buy that for a position trade. But for investment opportunity, definitely look for weekly supports. I've already mentioned that in my charts that I posted on Twitter. Go ahead and you can buy that. Okay, so that's my take on the charts.